Hello everyone, welcome back to Whiskers and Wrenches. This is Josh, and this is my 1984 Toyota Dolphin RV that I just picked up for $900. Now there is a reason you can see it, that it was $900. As you can tell behind me, it's all plasticed up. It's not in the best of shape, but I'm going to get into why I bought this truck. Now in a couple of my videos, like the 1988 Chevy C1500 build that we started on, I showed you guys an intro to that truck. A couple of the pictures, I'll show them up here. I had an old '03 F-150 that was my hauling truck. Now, I normally didn't get too much into vehicles, at least buying them that weren't running, driving them, trailing them home, everything like that. I normally just bought bikes, and that truck did great for that. I mean, it was a long bed. It was a single cab. I wish it was a cab and a half. But for just hauling motorcycles and parts and things like that, that did great. Sorry if it's jumping around a little bit. We're getting a lot of wind over here, and my camera mount isn't the best thing in the world. But, I mean, that truck worked great for hauling motorcycles, but when I started to haul cars, it really did not like it. Now, it was an F-150, so it really wasn't built for that in the first place. But on top of that, it was a V6 5-speed. That thing was underpowered to haul that stuff. When I was hauling that C1500 home, I took the highway home. I mean, going up hills and stuff like that, I was going maybe 35, 40 miles an hour, and I was about 70% throttle up those hills, and it was not very happy about it. So that's when I thought, it might be time to get something a little bit heavier duty for hauling things like that. Now, I sold that '03 F-150, made a pretty penny on it, and I bought that 2000 F-150 that I showed you guys in the last video, and that is my 4x4 winter rig. Now, as I touched on in that video, I do believe my '03 F-150 was my work truck and my winter rig, but it sadly was two-wheel drives, and around here in the winter, we do need four-wheel drive. That two-wheel drive, I hadn't got stuck yet, but I came really, really close too many times where I wasn't really comfortable driving it in the winter, reliably anymore. It was a great truck, but just over here we get snow, then it melts a little bit, then it freezes, and it's all ice. And without four-wheel drive, you're kind of stuck. And even with four-wheel drive, sometimes you get stuck on that stuff. So I figured it was time for me to get rid of that truck and get something four-wheel drive that's a little bit better in the winter. And that F-150 I bought and did that video on that 2000, it holds that, that part of my life. Great. It does great in the snow. The four-wheel drive works. It's going to be a great truck for that. But I wanted something, like I said, heavier duty to haul, and that's where this old girl came in. I'll show some pictures up here. I found this thing. I was driving by, and I saw that I've been seeing this thing probably off and on. I never really paid much attention to it, but I did notice it about a year or two ago in somebody's backyard, and I thought, oh, that's cool, an old Dolphin RV. Now, obviously, there is accident damage behind me. It's all taped up. This window's, nothing's here. It's all blown out, but there is a reason that I got this thing so cheap. That's part of it, and another reason is I don't really plan on using this box, at least most of it. Now, looking at it objectively, it looks absolutely horrible. I mean, you can see the side here is buckled. This whole side is flowed out. The roof itself's caved in. There's water damage everywhere in this thing. That seat's super moldy. The center console's rotted out. The roof is completely rotted. I mean, there's so much to not love about this thing. And again, when you get back here, you're going, why the hell would you use any of this box at all? It's completely junk. I mean, there's bottle jacks holding it up. There's junk everywhere. But look closer, and all of a sudden it starts to make sense. This thing, I will come up here, past all this junk, only has 59,738 miles, and that is original and verified. Back over here, it has all the original owner's manuals, the brochures. I mean, this thing was documented maintenance through and through. This is a one-owner RV who bought it brand new, loved it until the tree fell on it and completely ruined it. Now, once we get in here, as you can tell, there is a reason that I bought this thing for $900. There is a giant moldy hole right there that'll tell you why. It is held up with jacks, as you can see. You probably can't see. Let me move this curtain out the way. What's left of it. Back behind here, as you can see, there's a bottle jack holding up the ceiling. Now, this thing is completely junk, at least the box is. Now, there are good uses for the stuff that's in here, like this fridge, this stove, this overhead thing, these cabinets. I mean, the toilet in the back, which it does have a full toilet and shower. But sadly, that's where the good ends. I mean, this thing was hit, and it was hit hard by that tree. But I do plan on cutting this box off of this thing and putting a flatbed on it. But that doesn't mean that this thing has to not be a camper anymore. Now, I have put a little bit of thought into this, and thankfully, the cabinets, the fridge, the stove, all that stuff hasn't been water damaged at all. It's got a little bit of surface rust to it because, it's an old camper from the 80s. I mean, 1984 to 2024, that's 40 years old on the dot. It's about to be 41 years old when it's be 2025 in about a month here. But all this stuff still works great. And the owner told me this, hey, this thing, I was using this thing before the tree fell on. There's no real reason to lie. I mean, he sold me the thing for $900, and I told him, look, I'm buying this thing. I could scrap. I'm basically going to scrap the rest of it. You can tell me if shit doesn't work. If anything works, I'll probably find a good home before I scrap it. But then I started to think. Now, I bought this thing originally to camp with. I'm sorry if my camera's going a little bit fuzzy. It is getting dark pretty early up here. I didn't bring a light with me. I didn't even think to. But there is a reason that I bought this thing, and I was going to camp with it. Kansas City Motor Speedway is pretty close to me. I like taking, weekend trips out, to the middle of nowhere and having a weekend break from it all, bringing the dogs, just having fun. And that's what I wanted to do with this thing before I realized how much work it was going to need. But I got it for cheap enough, and I hatched a little bit of a plan. Now, once I put the flatbed on it, I plan on doing a few more things. I plan on leaving the tanks that are on it right now. They're up under the frame, if I do believe correctly. If they're not, I can take them out. It's not the end of the world. I can put different tanks on it, things like that. But I plan on buying a truck bed camper, and I'll show a couple pictures up of what I mean here. They're campers that just slide right into the bed of a truck. Any F-150, F-250, F-350 with a short bed or a long bed. You can get them either size. You can get them that overhang the top of the cab, that don't overhang the top of the cab, everything like that. Just little campers that, you can throw in the back of your truck, go out and have a weekend with and come back, take it out of your bed and use your truck normally. That's what I plan on doing. I plan on making a couple hookups on the flatbed where I can bolt one of those things down if I want to go on a weekend getaway up, the middle woods and camp out, or go to Kansas City Motor Speedway, watch some NASCAR, go on a trip with the boys. I mean, all that stuff. I plan on doing that. And if I have that on a box that I can take off the flatbed, I can still use this thing to haul things around. I do plan on putting a full trailer hitch, a good trailer hitch on the back. But I plan on putting, like I said, one of those on to haul cars, to haul trailers, to haul all that fun stuff. And this thing will haul it. It may not do it very quickly. I mean, I don't plan on hauling a lot with this thing 24/7, but if I do plan on, going and picking up a truck or a car or something like that, I want something that's not going to squat as bad as the F-150 did. And on top of that, a lot of people do swaps on these old Toyota trucks, and essentially, past that little cutoff right there at the cab where it turns into a truck again, this is just a 1984 Toyota truck. I've seen people swap LSs in these things. I've seen people swap 1UZs in these things. I've seen people swap 2JZs. I've seen people swap KA20s in them. I mean, these things are pretty swap happy, and a lot of people have done it. And sure, it may be, when it's on the original 22 4-banger, it may not haul things amazingly, but the chassis itself is going to take it. And that's what was stressing me out about that old F-150, is it, at the end of the day, it was an F-150, and I was loading up pretty darn heavy, especially with that old C-1500. And that's not what I want. I do plan on doing a few more car things here and there, and I want something I can reliably not stress the ever-living crap out of if I want to go pick up a project car and I want to haul it home. I don't want something that, I'm thinking, ooh, this might kill this. This might be the end of the road for this frame. That is not something that I wanted, which is why I wanted a heavier-duty chassis, and this thing just fell right into my lap. And the cool part about it is, like I said, when I put that truck bed camper on here, I'll have a work truck and an RV all in one. Now, obviously, daily driving this thing is long down the road. This thing is nowhere near ready to drive. I did drive it home from where it was sitting in the guy's backyard. However, the guy's backyard was about 3 or 4 blocks away from me. And even then, it was pushing it. I mean, this thing really was not running right. I mean, it had been sitting back in the guy's backyard for probably 2-3 years. The gas in it's probably junk. It's basically out of gas if I believe the gas gauge. I don't know if the gas gauge is correct or not, but it had the E-light on. And I'll show a clip of it idling here when I got it home. I mean, as you can tell, the thing was not happy at all. So I'm probably going to have to rebuild the carburetor in this thing, run some new gas through it, fix up any old vacuum lines, anything like that we have issues with. Maybe pop a new fuel filter on it, new fuel pump, flush the tank, change the oil, give it a set of plugs, wires, clean up the cap and rotor, things like that, the normal things that you need to do on an old truck whenever you buy it. But in the future, once I do get it running and everything like that, I do plan on painting it like brown, like the inside is. Now, people will call me crazy because not a lot of people like brown, but I do kind of have a soft spot for it, especially on things that it works with. Now, newer trucks, Toyota has that kind of tan desert brown they put on their new Tacomas, or the newer Tacomas. I know it was an option for a couple of years. I don't know if it's still an option, but I don't think it looks great on the new Toyotas. But on the on these old Toyotas that are boxy, that are bricks, that are not aerodynamic in any way, shape, or form, I think it fits them perfectly. I'll show a couple of pictures up here. Now, once I get this thing fixed up, a flatbed put on it, everything like that, I do plan on painting this thing. And I plan on going with the brown. I plan on saving as much as that brown interior, at least up here, as I possibly can. Now, people may call me crazy, but I think these, especially this era of old Toyotas, the brick, the non-aerodynamic in any way, shape, or form, these things are cubed. I think they look great in brown, but I think they just look sexy. I think, that deserty brown tan color with, dark brown stripes on the side just fits these trucks so well. And I think with the old flatbed on it, it'll look pretty neat. I'm kind of daydreaming a few things. I haven't really seen a lot of people build these things brown after they put a flatbed on it. Most of the time they cut the box off this thing, put a flatbed on it, and that's the end of the world. And it never really even is done prettily. Like if you look up most of the people online that do cut the boxes off these things, they don't do it very nicely in any way, shape, or form. Now, I'm probably going to end this video here. It's starting to get dark. I had a Thanksgiving get-together at work today, and I am full of food. I am ready to have a food coma. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I do hope to have the F-150 video out tonight and this video out tomorrow. So happy Thanksgiving. If I got it out in time, that's awesome. Yay me. But if I didn't, hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope your guys' week is going great. Like I said earlier, this is Josh from Whiskers and Wrenches. This is my 1984 Toyota RV Dolphin that I just bought for $900, and I'm going to cut the box off of and put a flatbed on. And I hope to see you guys through every step of the journey. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye. Oh my gosh. Dreams are made of these. Give them a tune up. Look at that.
Yummers.